Okay, these are the purple hull peas that I picked this morning. There's not a whole lot of them, but I'll get some probably every day or every other day. I've already washed these in about 3 waters, got them good and clean, and now I'm going to start shelling them. I'll shell them all out, and I'm going to save the pea hulls, and I'm going to make pea hull jelly, which I'll show you probably in another video. But anyway, I'm going to get these shelled and show you what they look like afterwards. Okay, I've got my peas shelled. As you can see, it was just our first picking. There's not very many. I'm going to say there's probably maybe 3 pints in here. Now, excuse me. If I was going to put them in the freezer, and I have done this before, and it works really well, I wouldn't do anything else. I washed the peas while they were in the hulls and shelled them out. They're clean and they're very dry. Not dried like in dried beans, but not wet. What I would do when I used to freeze them is I would shell them and get them to this stage here and just bag them up. Now, this is going to sound like crazy talk, but I used to put them in a clean pillowcase in the freezer. I know. But it works. It works really well. And then you can just scoop out, a couple of cups of peas when you're ready. They don't stick together when they're done like that. Scoop out a couple of them, a couple of cups of peas. Rinse them really well, and then cook them. And they will taste just like they came right out of the field. But that's what I'm doing today. And since it's still really hot, I'm not going to can them right yet. It'll be dark when you see me coming back, and I'll show you the rest of what I do. It's time to get started on these peas. Sun's going down. It's cooled off a little bit. What I'm going to do is bring these to a boil and boil them about 5 minutes. And then I'm going to show you that I skim off the foam because I don't want that in my jars. I put 5 pint jars into my canner, my big 21 quart canner. I'm going to pour in some more water. I've already got 2 quarts in there. I'll make sure some of it goes in the jars. Then I'll get my jars started heating up while my peas are starting to boil. Put all my tools out that I'm going to use for canning. A bowl to set my jars in. This cloth is clean and soaked in vinegar. My jar funnel. A wide flat spoon for skimming the foam off the peas. A chopstick for debubbling. Slotted ladle to get the peas out of the water. A regular ladle to get the water out so I can have something to put in the jars. My weight. Got 5 lids and rings here. And salt. I'll put a half a teaspoon of salt in each jar. I may not need all 5 jars. I don't have very many peas here, but I like to be ready. I like to have everything set out and ready to go. Here's the generator running out there. I got to get some fans going in here. Anyway, you can see there's a little bit of foam. See that gray foam? I'm going to skim that stuff off, because there is no good reason to have that in my jars of peas. It's pretty raunchy looking. So I'll get that skimmed off and bring you back when I start filling my jars. I'm ready to put the peas in the jars, so we take the lid off this canner. It's getting hot. Set it over here to one side. This kitchen is really tiny, y'all. Really tiny. So I'll lift out a jar. Pour the water back into the canner. Put the jar in this little bowl. It helps to catch some spills because we all spill something from one time to another. Start putting these peas. Now these are pink eye purple hull peas. They're really a favorite across the southern United States. do like I do with beans and everything. I'm just going to fill them about 3/4 full with the salt. Put a 1/2 teaspoon of salt in it. If you live in the South, you know about humidity, and it really messes with salt. Okay, there's some salt. Get my ladle. Put the cooking liquid in there. And I'll bring it up to the 1-inch headspace. Now the reason I only like to put 3/4 of a cup or 3/4 of a jar of peas is because even though these are freshly shelled today and they're green, they will absorb some water. Getting the bubbles out. Check my headspace again. Probably could use maybe another teaspoonful, maybe less. Alright, that'll do it. Set that off to the side. Wipe the jar, the top of the jar really well. I want nothing to be on there because I don't want it to mess up my seal. Put on a lid. The lids are clean. Put on a ring. If you watch very many of my videos, you already know this is what I do. Set it out on the towel, turn it, and when it moves, I'm done. Put it in the canner so everything stays nice and hot. Then get another jar out. Put the water in the canner. And keep filling these until I've got as many filled as I can get them. I'll get that empty jar out, but I wind up with 3 pints and 1/2 pint. Yeah, I know. This is a huge canner, and it does so much better when it's fully loaded. But when the peas are ready to pick, you got to pick them and can them when you get a chance. So the next time I may pull out a small canner that I've got. But for this go round, I'm using this big one because I want to show you how a Presto weight works when you're canning. I'm using my app, my canning app that's on my tablet to do all my timing, and you can check for lima beans on there. Lima beans can at exactly the same time as fresh shelled black-eyed peas or fresh shelled purple hull peas, which they're cousins. But anyway, they can at the same time, and you can look that up in your ball book. Okay, I'm going to put the lid on the canner. Excuse the mess over here in the background. When you're in the middle of canning, you don't have much time for doing a lot of other straightening up. I'll put the lid on it, get it centered over these notches. Oops, wrong one. Pull it around. It's pretty tight, but if I can do it, y'all can do it. Okay, get you up a little higher, right there. Because I'm now using this jiggler weight instead of the gauge, I can ignore this. What I'm waiting for now is for steam to freely vent from this port here. When it vents for 10 full minutes, then I'll put the weight on. I know this is kind of hard to see due to the lighting. But I am getting a full steady stream of steam out of here right now. So, I've got my Kindle with my app on it. That's really close, isn't it? I'm going to start the timer. And when it gets done counting down, I'll bring you back. Okay, my time is up. Well, it lasts a few seconds. Oh, you can't see that, can you? Anyway, It's about to be up for venting the canner, exhausting all the air from the canner. So I'm going to put I'll put the weight on right there. Now always remember, you're not worried. Yeah, there goes the alarm. You're not worried wherever else it might vent from, like from this little part in the middle. That's not what we're concerned with. Only through the vent pipe. So let me put the weight on. That already popped up right there, and it'll get tighter in a few minutes. Then this will rise up to about 11 or 12 pounds when that starts rocking over there. Everything just kind of coordinates. This gauge is okay. It measures accurately. But I'm always having to bump the heat up and down to try to keep it from going too high or too low. So now that I'm using this weight, I don't have to do that. I can turn it down a little bit, but that thing, it will keep rocking. And it will always vent out extra pressure. You never have to worry about it getting too high of a pressure. So I'll bring you back when it starts. Now you can see it rocking. I have turned the heat down a little bit so it'll slow down. But this is only a 40-minute process, so I'm not real concerned about losing a lot of water. Let's see. I'll show you excuse the noise. As you can see, this is on about 11 pounds, 10.5 to 11 pounds, which is right. Your canning is actually, when you're doing for these processes, it's actually 10.5 pounds if you're below 1,000 feet. It's not truly 11, but they run you up to 11 because 10.5 is real hard to see on that gauge. So 11 pounds for under 1,000 feet, or you get the 10-pound weight and it gets rocking at the exact right pressure. I'll bring you back after. Sorry about that. Okay, the processing time is up. Turn this off. It says remove from heat. I do not move the canner. I just turn the heat off and then wait until fully depressurized, then remove the weight or open the petcock. So I'm going to turn off the heat. I'm going to let the pressure go down all the way to 0 and no pressure in there. And then I'll bring it back. Dropped to 0, and it's been dropped to 0 for a few minutes. I give it about an hour to completely drop. Now I'm going to take off the weight, set it to one side. Then I'm going to set the timer on this for 10 minutes. I'm not taking that lid off or messing with those jars until 10 minutes is up. I want that pressure to more equalize. So I'll bring you back. 10-minute wait is up. I'm going to take the lid off. Always, always open the lid away from your face so you don't get all that steam in your face. While it might be a good beauty treatment in some places, this isn't one. Okay, I'm going to move you back a little bit and take my few little jars out of the canner and set them down here on this towel. Oh, well, sorry about kicking you. So we'll see how they did. Three full pints. And 1/2 pint, not quite a full half pint, but it'll be good to mix in with something else or throw into soup. So there you have it. Now I'll let these sit here That one's sealed. They're all sealed now. They're already good. I'll let these sit here until tomorrow, and then I will take off the rings, clean the jars, write on the top with a Sharpie. I'll write Purple Hull Peas and the date, and they'll be ready to go on the shelf. Thanks for watching.